as I see this go live. Okay, we are now live on YouTube, folks. So thank you for that. Okay, so I want to thank everybody who has shown up for my BrainPrints Rewrite the Blueprint of Your Brain presentation. I'm going to put something in the chat for everybody right now, and I'm just going to read it for you to make it easy. Hi, this is Maury Zelkovich, and I just wanted to let you know that I will be answering your questions and comments as I see them coming in. Be sure to type them in the chat provided, so I can honor you by not making you wait. If you need me, you can email me at the.maury.method@gmail.com, or you can call me after the webinar, of course, at 1-416-876-7939. I'm normally available between the hours of 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And as always, those of you who know me know that I am here for you. So, no point in waiting any longer. We're here to talk about brain prints, which, of course, are created by me. And do you like my look there? By the way, that's what I look like as a skinhead, apparently. So I'm the creator, of course, of Quantum Mind Method, Quantum Confidence, and Quantum Triliminals. Triliminals are specifically, there's lots of other things I've done too, but I don't want to inundate you. Quantum Triliminals are there for a particular reason, because they play a rather large role in the brain prints themselves. This chat we're going to have today is all about thought. It's all about your ability to manifest by what you think. It's all about experiencing peace, success, and understanding that the world you live in is not necessarily the world that you perceive that you live in. And if we can adjust our perceptions, the world, the universe becomes a far different place. I was asked many, many, many years ago to let people have a system where they don't have to work, they don't have to try, they don't have to dedicate a lot of time. Now, I understand that you're probably thinking, well, Maury, how difficult is your work anyway? We lie down, we put on headphones, we hit play. Well, believe it or not, I had a whole lot of people saying, Maury, that takes too much of my time, if you can believe that. And what I decided was, how can I come up with a way that people who like my work can still use it, but not dedicate as much time? Because what people weren't understanding, and this is something I didn't understand in the beginning either, quite frankly, was that once you make your mind better, once you make it stronger, once you make it more efficient, it actually works better. In other words, what used to take you 8 hours in a day to do can take you as little as 3 or 4 hours, because you're now more clear, you're more creative, you're able to reconstruct and reconceive things so that you don't just do them the way everyone else did them. You come up with more creative ways, more efficient ways of doing things. And that is very important to remember, because that is the whole point. So I thought, okay, well, I already have my triliminal system. I already have my triliminals, and I already have subliminal technology. How can I combine the two, quite literally, to make them work for everyone in a much easier way? And that's how brain prints were created. And I understand now that you have decisions to make, because brain prints for most of you are probably something completely new. And how do you decide? Well, here's one way to decide. One way to decide is very simple. Think about how much work you want to put in. Think of how much time you want to give to your self-improvement, to your betterment, to your joy, to your efficiency, to your ability to do things better, more effectively, so that you have more time and energy left over for the things that really matter in life, the things that make you happy, the things that make your heart sing. You know, that's what it's really all about. It's about that. So when you're making your decision, which you will be making later on as you learn more about BrainPrints and as you learn more about how your mind works and how your brain functions and how all of that creates a bubble, with this thing that's been happening in the universe lately. Everybody talks about bubbles and how we live in bubbles and this and that bubble and that bubble. Well, one of the interesting things about the bubble is we've always lived in our own bubbles. What I see, you don't see. What you see, I don't see. We could both walk down the Champs-Élysées in France and have a conversation while we're walking. And we're walking down the same street, we're seeing the same thing. And yet, if we were both interviewed an hour later after we did our walk and our conversation, you and I would have two totally different descriptions of what we saw. You would see and have noticed different people, different colors, different things would have stood out for you. We would literally sound like we were on two different planets. This is not something new. This is how our universe behaves and how we interact with it all the time. We assume everybody else sees and experiences what we do, but that is a wrong assumption. We don't see what everybody else sees. We see what we see. That is why it is so important for me when I'm creating my products, whether it's BrainPrints or anything else for that matter, to help people to help themselves. Because that is truly the important factor, I believe, that's missing in self-help and self-improvement products and personal improvement products, and has been missing forever. I'm not some brilliant genius who creates this stuff because I want to make money. I created this stuff because what was there wasn't really working for me. I literally created everything I've created, and I continue to create for myself. It just so happens we all have brains, even though, we may not use them all the time, so to speak, but we all have brains. And if we can optimize our brains, it's not going to change our perception or our perspectives, but what it will change is how we process that information. And it'll make us more effective. It'll make us more efficient. It'll allow us to get joy from our lives. It'll allow us to have compassion for others. It'll allow us to have better interactions with others because now we understand that they don't see the world exactly like we do. I have a subtle color blindness. So when you look at a green and I look at a green, I'm seeing a different color than you are. But most of us walk through our lives kind of blindly, assuming I see what you see, you hear what I hear. Everybody's seeing and hearing the same thing. We all live in the same world. I believe that, in my current understanding, is a wrong assumption to make. I do not believe we all live in the same world. I believe we all live in our own worlds. Now, does that mean that we have to be at odds and confused and upset and in conflict with each other? Of course not. It just means that it's understanding. And if we understand these things, then we will know better and we will interact better and we will be more peaceful and we will be more calm. And you know what? We all have energy. We all have a certain amount of energy at various times of the day, at various times of our lives. If we can free up a lot of that energy and take it away from the things that are just draining us and wasting our time, then we're going to be in a much better position to deal with anything that happens in our lives, because now we have all this extra energy. Imagine you have a 100-mile, 100-kilometer drive. Now, I know they're not equal, by the way. I'm just choosing 100 because it's a round number. So assuming we all have a 100-kilometer, 100-mile drive to make, but we only have enough gas to get 10 miles or 10 kilometers. We're not going to be able to get there. It doesn't matter how we drive. If we drive particularly slowly and we are very light on the gas pedal, perhaps we will go a little farther. But regardless, we won't be able to go the full distance. Now imagine we free up energy. And now we have enough gas in the tank to go 1,000 kilometers, 1,000 miles. Well, making that 100-mile trip is going to be easy. And that's what BrainPrints helps us with. That's what my technologies help us with. It helps us to free up our natural energy. It's not magic. It's not creating something out of nothing. It's freeing up natural energy that we have been in the bad habit of using to tread water. to keep our heads above the water. That's what it's doing. What I'm doing with this technology is helping you to be a stronger swimmer so that you don't have to tread water anymore. You can move, and you can move in a healthy, happy, and useful way. And that's what BrainPrints is about. And that's what my technology is about, quite frankly. So what makes BrainPrints different? That's a good question. I'm glad you asked. Okay, just give me a second. We have some more people coming in. So what makes BrainPrints different? Now, just so you know, in the chat, I will be adding, as people get added to the room, I will be adding my little cut and paste about how I can be contacted as well, because I don't believe they will have anything in their chat. Okay, so here's what makes BrainPrints different. BrainPrints is different because it's a yellow ball instead of a blue ball. And I know that sounds kind of silly, but think about it. BrainPrints is different, and it stands out because it's unique in what it does. It doesn't do anything the traditional way. So you're all familiar with subliminals. I mean, we've heard about subliminals way back from the 1950s when they claimed to put little images in movie theaters of the desert so that people would get thirsty and buy a Coca-Cola. You know, which, by the way, is a fallacy. It's a urban myth, as they say. But that's pretty much when we started hearing about subliminals. Subliminal intention has been used for thousands of years in human history. So that's nothing new. But the issue I have with subliminals as they existed before BrainPrints was that they weren't that effective. You had to use them a lot, like literally 24 hours a day. They had to be constructed in such a way so that the so-called subconscious in the mind would be able to see these things and understand them, where the conscious mind wouldn't. So that's the basis behind a subliminal, right? Is to get by the conscious mind, which is more logical, of course, and saying this is all bull and it's never going to do anything, and make it to the unconscious mind or the subconscious mind, which can then process this information and reprogram you from the inside out. Now, first of all, there's no such thing as a subconscious. There's no such thing as the unconscious or the conscious mind. We have one mind. We do not have a conflict between these imaginary pieces of our mind. That just doesn't happen. Subconscious, unconscious, and conscious minds are simply categories given the mind by science to categorize different features. It's like I'm making a fist with my left hand. I'm pointing at you with my left hand. I'm waving hello with my left hand, thumbs up with my left hand, and I'm spasming with my left hand. Did I just show you 5 different hands? No, of course not. I showed you one hand. That's all I showed you, just one hand. It could do 5 different things. It could actually do many more things than that too. But that's the point. Okay, the point is it can do all these things, but it's just one mind. So don't get confused when people are trying to convince you there's a subconscious and there's a conscious, and they show you that idiotic picture of a iceberg. And here's your unconscious all underneath the water, and your consciousness is just this little piece up top. It's a load of crap. It's based on a misunderstanding. It's based on a fallacy. And for some reason, it got traction. It went viral, and everybody believes in a lie. So what can I tell you? So what makes BrainPrints different? First of all, BrainPrints is the first technology, subliminal technology, that speaks to you on 3 different levels at the same time. If that sounds familiar, that's the basic geometry of a triliminal. So a BrainPrint is a subliminalized triliminal. BrainPrints has embedded in it an actual brainwave entrainment tone. That tone is a special tone. It's not just any tone. It initiates a response in the brain called long-term potentiation, known as LTP. And that process of LTP has to be present in order for memory pathways to form. BrainPrints activates that, because with entrainment, you actually have to, well, you don't hear, but you have to experience a vibration on, off, on, off, on, off of the pulse tones. But you don't hear of them. Okay, you just don't. You don't hear them in the BrainPrint. So they can't actually have an effect, except we include a recording, whether you buy 1 BrainPrint or 40 BrainPrints, called the initiator, the entrainment initiator. And the entrainment initiator is a unique program because it is actually an audible version of the entrainment tones that are embedded in every single one of my BrainPrints recordings. All 125 of them have this specially designed brainwave entrainment track embedded. It gets activated by using the entrainment initiator, eyes closed, laying down, ordinary stereo headphones at a comfortable volume, twice a week. That's all you have to do, twice a week with that protocol. Once you do it with that protocol twice a week, your brain learns to recognize that pulsed beat, and it will recognize it in the subliminal recording and act appropriately via a process called muscle memory. Just like how you know to raise your legs when you're climbing stairs, that's a muscle memory. Your brain is a muscle too, and it has a memory as well. When it hears the entrainment initiator, it goes, aha, this is the same recording that's in here. Now I know how to react, even though I'm not actually hearing it. Really, really cool. Okay, I see there might be a couple of questions, and as I promised, I will get to them. So if we're listening to BrainPrints on a speaker, how does the information go to left, right, or center of the brain? Okay, yes, that's a good point. The initiator you wear with ordinary stereo headphones, eyes closed, laying down, comfortable volume. The BrainPrints themselves you listen to over a speaker. So that's an excellent point you bring up. What happens is, because a triliminal is designed a specific way, it's actually designed with the statements to affect the different regions of the brain. So what goes in the right ear is designed specifically to stimulate the left hemisphere. What is said in the right ear is designed specifically to stimulate the left hemisphere. And what is said in the center is designed to stimulate both hemispheres. So even though you're not wearing headphones and having them directed like you would with triliminals, the coding that I've put into the actual statements directs them on a subliminal level to the appropriate hemisphere. Excellent question. Thank you for asking it. Can we play BrainPrints over and over our cell phones with a headset? Okay, so yes, you can play your BrainPrints over a cell phone, or a smartphone, but you need to play it over an external speaker if you're listening to the actual BrainPrints themselves. The intention, the entrainment initiator, I have another recording that's similarly named. So that recording needs to have stereo headphones to get the full effect. That's what's very important to remember. If you want to listen to the BrainPrints with a headset, though, keep in mind that the actual entrainment and vocalizations are embedded at a very high pitch. So you'll want to listen at the lowest possible volume on your device. And that means the lowest volume that you can hear anything at all, even in the background. And that's when you're struggling to pay attention. It's subliminal. It does not need to be, stronger than that. So I'm also asked, how are BrainPrints different from the older Quantum Confidence with TMM program? Quantum Confidence actually gave birth to the triliminal. That was the first time triliminals made their appearance. So what's different about it is that in Quantum Confidence, we have my other modality for using and creating subliminal recordings. BrainPrints is brand new, again, in that it includes subliminalized entrainment that actually works. It includes the trifecta of right, left, and center in the statements and how they are effective. So again, the BrainPrints subliminals blow any other subliminals out of the water. They blow even my own subliminals out of the water, keeping in mind that my subliminals already blow everybody else's out of the water. I don't normally pat myself on the back because I'm afraid I'm going to dislocate my shoulder. But in this case, I can be very straightforward with you. So there you go. Okay, so let's move on. I will continue to look for questions, so please feel free to ask them. It all comes down to your brain soup. It all comes down to your chemistry. What is important to understand is that if you are interested in what I'm saying now, if you are bored by what I'm saying now, that is actually the result of your brain creating activity. You've all heard of beta and theta and alpha and gamma and blah, blah. All these different states are nothing more than science's descriptions of how many times the neuron, which is your brain cell, is pulsing an electric impulse, okay, in a second. And depending on how many times a second that this beat, if you will, occurs in the neuron and its location, that dictates the kind of chemistry it produces, the kind of neurotransmitters, endorphins, and hormones it produces. And all of these different chemicals merge together to create what I call a soup. And that soup, just like a chef in a kitchen, just like you in the kitchen, you can make a soup that is absolutely delicious, or you can make a soup that tastes like crap. And that's just how it is. So with BrainPrints, you can make a soup that tastes really good. And if it tastes good, your life tastes good. And if your life tastes good, your life is better. And that's what this is all about. It's all about chemistry. We need to understand that the brain is the central processing unit of your life. It is. And people can talk about where the soul is located. It might be in my elbow. It might be in my thumb. It might be in my toenail. It might be in my heart. It might be in my head. It might be anywhere. It doesn't matter. Nature takes care of that automatically, okay? We don't need to worry about where our soul exists, if our soul exists. We don't need to think about any of that because it just happens. If it doesn't pass through your brain doesn't produce neurochemistry via producing brainwave activity, and you don't experience it. You don't know it's there. Again, let's go back to that. Let's go back to a situation where we're in a group of us, or we're both walking down the street, and we have different stories at the end of it all when someone interviews us. Well, that's because your brain is being stimulated by different things than my brain is being stimulated by. As a result, I'm creating different chemical soup than you are. As such, I become aware of things you're not aware of. You become aware of things I'm not aware of. And we see the same things and interpret them differently as well. That is evidence of the soup that gets created in our brains and creates our reality, creates the bubble that we're in, if you will. While listening to the BrainPrint, I've kept the volume of the speaker at the lowest possible volume. If I keep my ear near the speaker, I can hear the shush sound. Okay, the shush sound you should be hearing all the time, not just if you strain and put your ear to it. The shush sound you need to hear all the time. It doesn't have to be loud. It can be barely audible, but you need to be able to hear that all the time in order to make sure that you're getting the subliminal message. Okay? So yes, increase your volume if need be. So that's for all of us. When listening to a BrainPrint, we need to hear the background noise, the mask, it's called the shh sound. Okay? All right. I can't hear you. Well, subliminal means below the level of conscious awareness. So obviously, you're not really going to hear it. But that being said, you actually have never heard anything. Sound is a fallacy. You're not hearing my voice right now either. I want you to think about it this way. If any of you, if you're in your car, don't do this, of course. But if you are at home on your computer or in the office at your computer, or you're on your phone and you're listening to me over a speaker from your phone or from your computer, I encourage you right now, I'm going to count backwards from 5 in a second, but I want you to put your hand over the speaker or your finger over the speaker. Okay, everybody done that? Good. I'm going to assume those of you that can have. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition, blast off. Okay. For those of you who are able to put your fingers over the speaker, let me know, yes or no, Y or N. Did you feel vibration? While I'm waiting to get some results here, I will tell you that yes, you did. There you go. So yes, you felt vibration, because that is actually what sound is. It is nothing more than vibration. Everyone on this call right now, if you had the ability to record my voice the way you hear it, I don't mean, holding your phone up and recording my voice on the onboard recorder, but if you could record my voice the way you actually hear it, my voice would be subtly different in each case. That shows you the difference between perception and reality. I am creating vibration. The speakers that you're listening to me on are creating or reproducing, as to best to their ability, that vibration. Your brain is then interpreting that vibration and creating what we call sound. So that old line, if you're ever at a party and you hear someone ask you, if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a noise? Does it? Tell me right now. Yes or no? If a tree falls in the forest, does it make a noise or does it make a sound? Okay. If you said yes, you're wrong. If you said no, you're right. What the tree falling in the forest does is it creates vibration. And if something is there with an ear canal, with something that can vibrate, bones, flesh, whatever, and it has the processing capability in its brain, it will convert that to a sound. But it doesn't make a sound, it doesn't make a noise. Nobody has ever heard anything in the history of humankind, as far as I can tell. It's all a matter of the brain processing the sound. That's why I actually have some people who use my recordings and tell me they're deaf, even in both ears. And they tell me they're deaf. And what's interesting is, if they're deaf, how do they get benefits? Well, they get benefits because it's vibration that causes the effect, not your perception of sound, not your perception of anything. It's purely a natural process that we take advantage of in the BrainPrints system. It's never, ever been done before, as I alluded to. The ability of creating subliminalized entrainment that actually has an effect. I have people telling me that they listen to the BrainPrints and they feel little tingles in their body. They feel little tingles in their fingertips. How does that happen if they don't actually hear anything? That's happening because that's evidence that the BrainPrints are actually working. That's the important thing to remember. We're taking the technology that has never been done before of triliminals, and we are converting them naturally into subliminal messaging. And what that ends up creating is something absolutely amazing, because my clients asked me, Maury, I want something easier to use. Maury, I want something that I can do other things while I'm using. Well, you know what? Everything is possible. If you have an idea, there's a reason why you had that idea. Don't let anyone convince you that there's no reason, or that you're an idiot, or that you should get a job doing something you don't want to do, because what you want to do is impossible. One of the advantages I have over other scientists is I'm not formally trained by a university or a college as a scientist. Yes, I have an honors degree in psychology. Yes, I have a minor degree in sociology. But beyond that, I'm not a doctor. I'm not an official university or college trained scientist either. I have trained myself. In the world we live in, there is so much information, there is so much knowledge. And if you access it and you have the drive to learn and understand to the best of your ability, and you go ahead and actually pay attention to it all, and use your own creativity and your own innovation, then it's amazing what you can come up with. And you notice I'm saying you, I'm not saying me, because that's what I did. I was a C student in school. School served its purpose for me, but the real education happened on my own afterwards. And it wasn't helped by people telling me, get a menial job, Maury, that you don't want to do because you'll never make money with this so-called science that you're talking about. Well, the world is an amazing place when you don't listen to people who are afraid and want to make you afraid. So here's some innovations about the brain prints that you probably don't know, but I'm going to give you right now because there's a reason why they're so powerful. There's a reason why they're so effective, and there's a reason why I use them every day. As a matter of fact, I have brain prints playing in the background while we are having this event. Okay, so innovations that are exclusive to my brain prints include, of course, the subliminalized brainwave entrainment. This is the first time it's ever been done and works. That's the important thing to remember. There are others out there who claim to do it, but it has no effect. Subliminal messages are targeted to the left and right hemispheres as well as the center. This is the very first time, and it's never been done before. Subliminalized triliminals. The right, left, and center are geolocated. They're neurally located to those areas because of how I've done the coding. No headphones are needed. Again, the entrainment is subliminalized. It's a subtle entrainment because that's what subliminal is. It's subtle, but it's compatible with the subliminal spoken word aspects. So everything works together to make it better than it would be independently. And then there's something called decalayer messaging. There's 10 layers of subliminal messages embedded within. Remember, triliminals are incredibly powerful, but you have to hear them. At least they have to create vibration, which your brain interprets as hearing. By creating a decalayer messaging technique, which I have 10 layers of the same triliminal over top of itself, it helps to further increase the overall power. So for those of you that came in a little bit late, I'm just going to put a last time here, my information if you need to contact me or any other reason, it's all there. So what are subliminal messages? Most of you probably know this, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. But subliminal messaging is essentially the idea that we get messages to your, or let me rephrase this, not to your unconscious or subconscious, but we bypass the conscious mind, which is seen as an adversary in traditional subliminals. So the kind of thing that says, yeah, right, this is bull, this will never work. That's why it's seen as an adversary. So it's kind of like, look here, look here, look here, look here, consciousness, look here, while we sneak in with the real messages over here. So that's the idea, okay, behind a subliminal message. It's a message that gets by the consciousness or the conscious aspect of your mind so that it doesn't argue and put up shields or put up walls against the beneficial subliminal message that you're supposed to be getting. That's what a subliminal message is. There's a lot of common mistakes that are made in the science and in the technology, and frankly, in a lot of the products that are out there. There's a reason why I make the variety of products that I make, and there's a reason why I make products in the first place. It's because I tried everything I could get my hands on, and I couldn't find anything that really did a good job for me. Keeping in mind, it's for me. I'm not bad-mouthing anything that's out there. If you've had good experiences with other things, I think that's wonderful, and you should continue to use them. That being said, I wasn't getting anything. I lived for 40 years hating the universe around me, hating people. I don't know you, but I probably hated you too. I hated everybody. I hated people who could smile, really. I hated people who could laugh, really. I hated people who could have healthy, loving relationships, really, because I couldn't. Everything was hell. I used to think I was Hitler reincarnated. I woke up every single morning, I crossed my fingers, and I looked out the window and wished I would see mushroom clouds. Because if I did, then I knew I wouldn't have to live through another day. I had an affirmation that hundreds of thousands of times, probably millions of times I said over the years, life is a disease for which there is no cure but death. Now, is that morbid or is that morbid? That's really disgusting. But that was my life. There were multiple attempts on my life as well. But if I really wanted to end my life, wouldn't I have been able to? And I kind of realized that. And I saw that if I can't find a way to die, I have to find a way to live. And BrainPrints was part of that solution. It makes such a difference. But there's so many things that go on that people just don't understand. So I was told when I've done presentations before that when I have like a paragraph up, people try to read it, and if I'm saying other things, it gets confusing for them. So instead, I'm going to be a team member and I'm going to play with you instead of against you. So here's some myths of subconscious programming. Subliminal message programs are all about psychology. Although subliminal message programs are aimed to address the subconscious part of the mind, which you could consider a psychological concept, the truth is that subliminal messages are really more about communication. The goal here is to change the communication of the subconscious and its interaction with the conscious part of your mind. They are not at odds with each other. In essence, to improve what a person feels and believes about themselves. This acts to alter your behavior in a very positive and beneficial way. A myth of subconscious programming. Subliminal messages are commonly embedded into movies to make you buy things. This is actually not entirely correct. Theaters do display films, but they don't create them. The studios have no reason to embed any kind of subliminal messages in their films at all. The theaters do not, in fact, use any fancy technology to display or project subliminal messages or images onto the screen. As I mentioned, you may have heard about the urban myth with the desert scenes in the movie theater and the following rush to buy soda at the intermission. Yeah, back in the olden days, they had intermissions in theaters. They didn't make you sit for 3 hours. In fact, the gentleman responsible, his name is James Vickery, later admitted that he faked those results after being asked to duplicate them, and he couldn't. More myths of subconscious programming. There was a book written called Hidden Persuaders, and it was used as proof that advertisers constantly use subliminal advertising to inspire people to buy products that they're marketing. In fact, the term subliminal advertising was never even used in the book. The book focused on other ways that advertisers exploit aspects of human psychology to persuade people to purchase various products. This is simply another case of people misinterpreting or misrepresenting information and/or data that is available to prove anything they want to claim proven. You may have heard of cloud watching. This is a good example of cloud watching. There's also a belief for many years that some advertisements used erotic subliminal keywords, for example, the word sex, embedded into photos of various objects, including ice cubes, for the sole purpose of getting people to relate sexual satisfaction with whatever product or service that was being marketed. In truth, there is no evidence to prove that associating products with words can actually have any kind of an influence on people's buying habits. Of course, it's a well-known fact that sex does indeed sell, but I'm sure we can all agree that there's nothing subliminal about how it's used to sell various products and services that it is used in. And the government and other powerful organizations use subliminal technology to control the masses. Again, no evidence to prove this. As a matter of fact, in the United States and in the public interest, the FCC actually passed a ruling to prevent the activity from being used in radio and television broadcasts. Well, now we've heard a whole bunch of things that we know aren't true. And now you know information that most people don't know. So, what actually is the truth about subliminal messages? I'll tell you. The truth is that many scientific studies have not found any effectiveness in attempts to use subliminal messaging techniques to make people buy products or do anything for that matter against their will. Remember this, against their will, or against their social or moral norms. Actually, similar results have been found with respect to hypnosis, which is being practiced much, much longer than subliminal messaging. Now, here's the actual really interesting part, and this is super interesting. Some subliminal messaging programs, which use different methodologies of delivering the information, actually have been found to be very effective when used with a self-help or self-improvement intention, equals BrainPrints. What this means is that when the subject is aware of the techniques being used, and you're all totally aware, I'm not hiding anything from you, then they actually have been found to be very effective as long as they have the self-improvement intention. What this means is that when you're aware of the techniques being used, and that's one of the reasons why I'm explaining it to you so intricately, when you're aware and you're willing to be exposed to the stimulation, then the techniques have been shown to be quite important and quite accurate and quite effective. Here's some more facts about subliminal technology. In 1897, a publication called The New Psychology printed an article stating how subliminal messages work. Interestingly enough, by World War II, a device called a tachydoscope, which is a machine that projects images, extremely briefly and rapidly on a surface, was developed and then used to actually teach soldiers how to recognize enemy aircraft. You can imagine during an actual event where they're in the air and they're battling against the enemy, there's lots of airplanes flying all over the place, and you don't want to shoot your own partners. A gentleman, here we go, by the name of James Vickery, who was a market researcher, became very well known when he reported that he was able to increase popcorn and soda sales at a New Jersey movie theater with the use of subliminal messaging, which he had spliced, or claimed at least to have spliced, into the movie. This misinformation is what actually seems to have led to the current practice of subliminal advertising, despite the fact that he admitted in 1962 he was lying. In 1973, there was an advertising campaign for a board game which included the subliminal message, "Get it." People complained so vehemently that the FCC actually ran an investigation and deemed subliminal messaging to be contrary to the public interest. You may or may not recognize this guy. At the time of his election campaign and speeches, George Bush was found to actually use a variety of subliminal techniques. This included using subliminal audio along with subliminal triggers to inserting subliminal messages into his advertising videos. Subliminal systems are actually widely used in psychotherapy. One of the strongest proofs about the uses and effects of subliminal messaging is the role that they now play in psychotherapy. Therapists and psychologists use subliminal messaging a lot to help patients recover from problems that stem from mental illnesses. This guy you may recognize also. Tiger Woods has been reportedly saying that he uses subliminal messages to help him stay focused during his golf games. A quick look at everything Tiger Woods has achieved in the world of golf is enough proof to show how much these messages can have a positive, beneficial effect on the mind and the influence they can have on your capabilities. I want to clarify something here. Subliminals are not illegal. There's a lot of people who might be concerned about the safety and the legality of using subliminal messages. The truth is that the use of these messages is not illegal. It is only evaluated closely and may be banned when it's used in advertising for the obvious intention to manipulate consumers. But regular people like you and me can use subliminal messages freely for personal development purposes, such as losing weight, improving concentration, enhancing self-perception. Sorry about that. I thought my bell was off, and so on. Again, we're getting close to the end of the presentation here. I want to encourage people, if they would like to ask questions or get them ready, because I will be opening up for a Q&A shortly. So we can produce customized results. Even when you and a friend use the exact same subliminal program or watch the same subliminal video, your effects can be different. And this is because no two minds are the same. It's the same with my entrainment. Your brain knows what it needs. Your brain will manipulate whatever comes into it to give you what it thinks it needs. The the understanding here is that people have different personalities, they have different memories, different thought patterns, beliefs, ideas, perceptions, and ideas and attitudes. And all of these influence how the subliminal affects that person, keeping in mind that we want it to affect everybody separately and differently. That's the whole point. It's about you being helped. It's not about me telling you what you need to do to be helped. You literally produce customized results, even if you're using the same program. Did you know that people have, subliminal messages can change what needs to change. They can reinforce what needs to be reinforced and enhance what needs to be enhanced. They target specific problems that are unique for each person. So when you listen to it, you're going to get different results than I'm going to listen or that I'm going to get. BrainPrints technology gives you power. It gives you the ability to accomplish things that you're not always sure that you can accomplish, but it will help you to change your mind, to change your brain so that you are now capable of achieving anything you want to. So now, how I'm going to help you, other than hopefully with this education that I've given you, that hopefully empowers you to understand the power of your mind and how with just a little tweak here and a little tweak there, you can start achieving things that maybe you thought were impossible. But I encourage you to stop thinking that way. When you think something is impossible, that's because of a lesson you've been taught by another person who believes things are impossible. There is nothing that is impossible. What I have done with BrainPrints was supposed to be impossible. Obviously not. BrainPrints exist. I have unique and proprietary techniques and technologies in every single one of my technologies, every single one of my products. And that is all based on theory, on reality that I was told by people, by teachers, by professors, by other scientists, was impossible. I told you before that I'm self-trained. I'm not a university college trained scientist. I'm a self-trained scientist. The biggest benefit of that is I don't know what's possible or impossible, meaning everything is possible. If I get an idea, there has to be a reason why I got that idea. I believe it's the same for you. Everything in your life is possible. If you're not getting it, if you don't feel good about it, it's because it's your mind and your body teaming up to say you're not on the right track. You need to think, you need to do different things. When you start feeling better about it, that's when you know you're on the right track. Feeling good and feeling bad are not bad things or good things. They're both good, because feeling bad tells you you're on the right path. Feeling good tells you you're on the right path. Feeling bad tells you you're not. These are red lights on the dashboard of your life intended to help you, not hurt you. Please stop misinterpreting these things as bad. They're lessons. When we start looking at things as a lesson, we lean forward and we listen. When we think of things as bad, we do this and we get nothing from it. Okay, so let's talk about the BrainPrints. We currently have, and I was working my little rear end off to get these ready, 125 different BrainPrints. That means BrainPrints recordings that are on different topics that can help you to help yourself when you combine them together to create your own unique program, which is what you're going to do, which is something completely unique. There is no other self-help system on the planet that allows you to create and even adjust and tweak your own system. And after all, who knows you better than you? There's nobody. For our first offer, if you order 5 or more BrainPrints, and by the way, the link I will put in the chat in a second, but when you put 5 or more BrainPrints, you'll receive my never before released escape anxiety system. Free. It's a $67 value. This day and age, anxiety plays, unfortunately, a large role in our lives. This mini system can help you to help yourself to avoid the negative effects of anxiety and allow you to move forward in a peaceful way. If you order 10 or more BrainPrints, then you'll receive our brand new, never before released depression antidote system. Another $67 value. It's another mini system that is designed specifically to help you, to help yourself. Plus, you'll receive the anti-escape system above. So you're going to get both of them. If you take our third offer and order more than 20 BrainPrints, you'll receive the brand new, never before released Insomnia Nullifier System. Sleep is the most important thing that dictates how your day is going to be when you're waking. Understand that. Get good sleep. You will have a good day. You also receive, of course, everything that I mentioned before, the anxiety system, the depression system, etc. If you order 30 or more BrainPrints, then you'll receive our brand new, never before released Mind Calm system, a $67 value. You'll also get the Escape Anxiety, the Depression Antidote, and the Insomnia Nullifier. That's a total of $268 in bonuses you're getting all by yourself. If you order 40 or more BrainPrints, you'll also receive my 6 Weeks to Supreme Self-Confidence course. This is a 6-week course that I conducted a number of years ago, and it's been so popular that I give it away as a bonus sometimes, specifically designed to help you to help yourself to supreme self-confidence. The first module, which goes over 2 hours, what is self-esteem and what is self-confidence? If we understand something, it takes away our fear. Module 2, how to cope with criticism from others and yourself. That's almost 3 hours of helpful information and inspiration for you to be better and to feel better. Module 3, what are the barriers to achieving higher levels of self-esteem? Again, I believe if you understand the dynamics behind something, it takes away the fear, it takes away the mystery, and it allows you to progress. Module 4, the power of negative thoughts. Almost 2.5 hours of tidbits and nuggets, as they say, that will help you to understand why you are where you are now. Module 6, develop your own supreme self-confidence action plan. This is an action plan that helps you to help yourself, and it actually puts it out on paper. You'll also receive the anxiety system, the antidote system, the nullifier system, the mind calm system, all of it. When you add up all the bonuses together, over $1,200. I'm going to give a special bonus to all purchasers of 10 or more BrainPrints today, Wednesday, May 17th, 2023, a 60-minute coaching session with me. Okay, you can set up this session with me anytime within the next 90 days. Sorry, someone dropped out. I have to let them back in. Within 90 days, I have found over the years that people who have received the most benefits from my products are often those who have received help from me. If you want to know what is possible and get the same kinds of benefits, then feel free to get at least 10 or more BrainPrints. This offer, though, doesn't run out when people, use too much of it or get too many. It's going to expire midnight tonight, Pacific time. So I'm going to put, let me go back here. I am going to put into the chat now the link, https://truesubliminal.com/webinar special. Let me make sure I wrote that right. https://truesubliminal.com webinar special. Okay, I'm just going to click it to make sure. It's in the chat right now. Feel free to go there at your leisure and grab this amazing new system. So I'm going to, if I can get this to work properly. Okay, I'm going to open up the room to questions now. So I'll leave this up as well. I will put the, okay. Let me see here. Copy link. I'm going to put it in. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on here. Zoom is a wonderful thing, but it doesn't always do what you want it to do. So I got to tell you. Okay, let me try this again. I don't understand why that is happening. I apologize. Give me a second, folks. I'm having a technical difficulty. Okay, this is absolutely silly. I just need a second here. https://truesubliminal.com/webinar special. Okay, for whatever reason, it wasn't letting me copy the link to the offer. So now it is. There's more than one way to skin a cat. So you'll notice that when little glitches happen, I don't freak out. That is one of the benefits. Okay, so let me go to some of the questions now. I think I've given you enough time to do some questions. Okay, so hi, you recommended speakers that have a 20 to 20, either 20 kilohertz or 20,000 hertz. 18,000 is high enough, but I find it difficult to find it mentioned in the specs. How do you solve this issue? Yeah, contact the maker. Normally in the specs section, it actually says what the upper range is, and the actual subliminals are embedded at about 16,000 hertz. So that's why we want to have at least 18,000 for variation to make sure that the subliminal aspect gets through. But yeah, just contact the manufacturer, email them. Everybody has an email address. Pretty much everything has that, but a lot of built-in speakers, like in phones, won't really do the trick. So you have to be careful. So just contact the maker of your speaker and they will tell you. Okay, can review the purchase options. I dropped off and had to sign back in. Yes, I will go over them. We can just go back a little bit here. And we'll go very, very quickly. Okay, so this is this will be for Nick. Purchase options. If you order 5 or more, you get one of my bonus systems, Escape Anxiety. If you order 10 or more, you get the Depression Antidote System and Escape Anxiety. If you order 20 or more BrainPrints, you'll receive the brand new, never before released Insomnia Nullifier System and the Escape Anxiety, Depression Antidote, and the rest of the above recordings. If you order 30 or more, you'll get the Mind Calm System, the Escape Anxiety, Depression Antidote, Insomnia Nullifier. If you order 40 or more, you get my special course, the 6 weeks to Supreme Self-Confidence, and you get, if you order 10 or more BrainPrints, you'll get a 60-minute coaching session with me. Okay, so hopefully that answers that. I see there's only a couple more questions, so I'm happy to stick around until all the questions are used up. I actually have the internet record for the longest Q&A session because I don't curate. I don't cherry pick questions. I answer all questions. That was 6 hours. This will not be that, obviously. I only have 2 questions left right now. But if you have any questions at all, any comments at all, please type them in. So we have a question. Isn't 125 programs a bit excessive? Are there some main programs? Okay, actually 125 are not excessive. And at some point in the future, I'll probably be releasing another 50 more, because here's how you choose the BrainPrints. Hold your intention. What do I want to accomplish? Once you're holding that intention, go through the list of available BrainPrints. The ones that jump out at you in a good or a bad way are the ones that are related to that intention. I want to be a better public speaker. Then I look at the list of recordings, and the ones that jump out at me, again, in a good or a bad way, I make a list, or I put a check mark beside to order. Those are the ones that I order. I'm making my own system. Let's say I have more than one intention. I want to quit smoking, I want to quit drinking, and I want to sleep better, and I want to do better at public speaking. Then I hold all of those intentions separately. I go through the list. Some of the recordings will be the same. Obviously, I don't have to order them twice. Others will be different. Now, instead of having, say, from one intention, 10 recordings, now I might have 30 recordings or even more, because I have 4 or 5 different intentions. Well, the beauty of that is that we do not live in a vacuum. What that means is that by combining all of our intentions together, we will actually get benefits from everything. And in truth, I believe that's one of the problems with self-help today, that we concentrate with blinders on one particular issue, prosperity, confidence, whatever. And because we're not dealing with the other issues at the same time, we don't get the one we're trying for either. So BrainPrints allows you to create your own custom system with the process I just provided you. And it allows you to adapt it down the road because you may want to add or subtract recordings. And it deals with everything at the same time. And you're the person deciding, because you're the person who is listening to yourself when you feel that reaction, either in a positive or a negative way. And that is why 125 programs isn't actually excessive. In the end, it may actually not be enough for some people, but it should be enough at least to make a good start. We have another one here. I can find some low range is 40. I'm sorry, Shabir, I don't know what you mean by that. I can find some low range is 40. Oh, I see. I believe you're talking about the headphones or the speaker. Yes, the speaker under 40 is fine. 40,000 hertz or 40 megahertz is fine. So again, anything over 18 is sufficient. Okay, let's see what other, we have more questions coming in. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm happy to stick around. I get more energy as these things go on. I don't lose energy, I gain energy. And by the way, I'm listening, as I mentioned before, to a whole series of the BrainPrints that I have set on a loop. And you can also listen to them when you go to sleep at night, by the way. You put it on very quietly, put it on a loop, have as many BrainPrints as you want playing while you're sleeping. It's a great way to program yourself. Okay, so let's see. Nancy is concerned about an older cat that is always around. Okay, so here's the thing. That's a really good question. Because they're embedded at a high frequency, animals, as we all know, tend to have a larger range of hearing than we do. Just leave a window open or a door open so your cat can leave if it doesn't like it. I've actually had a lot of animals, cats and dogs, get really loving when the BrainPrints are playing around their, around their friends. I will call you their friend as opposed to master or owner. But yeah, I've had that happen, but occasionally they don't like it and they leave. That's all. Remember, you're not blasting it like you're listening to a heavy metal concert. You're playing it at a very low volume. Okay, I also have the anxiety and depression recordings from a quantum mind power bonus. Are these bonuses different? The anxiety and depression recordings that you have are probably the same, but I'm happy to throw in something different for you. So if you email me with your receipt and you've ordered at least 10, well, at least the ones that are qualifying you for these extra bonuses, so that would be probably 30 or 40 in that neighborhood, then I will be more than happy to offer you other bonuses instead. So I am out of questions. I would encourage anyone who has a question on their mind right now to ask it. If for whatever reason you're halfway through and you're feeling pressured, please don't feel pressured. Simply hit enter now or write continue or to be continued, and then I'll know you're there. I'll know you're writing out a question and I will give you as much time as you need. Okay, so just all you have to do is type it in and say, I need more time, please. Please hang around. I will do that with pleasure. Okay, so there is another question I see that just came in. I'm going to put the link up again in case some of you may have missed it or don't want to type it from the slide. So let's see here. Will it impact? That's a good question. Will it impact my wife? We heard about pets. Now, how about other people? Even though she doesn't have an intention to get benefits from the recordings, as we sleep in the same room, of course. Okay, so here's the thing. One of the truisms about, about the subliminal technology is that as long as you know that these things are there for your positive benefit, then you will get positive benefits. It's important that you let your wife know, honey, I've got this program. that I believe in and I'd like to use, and I'd like to play them at night because the more I hear them, the more they're in the background, the better the impact will be for me. Is it okay if I play them? They're not going to make you do anything you don't want to do. They're not going to program you. They can't do that, actually. They can't make you do anything you don't want to do. All they could do possibly is help you. The only thing you're going to hear, honey, is shh, and at a very quiet volume. As long as she agrees, rock and roll. You should never do these things at work where other people might hear unless they are aware of it or made aware of it and agree, okay? It's very, very important to respect other people. You wouldn't want people to put stuff onto you. We don't want you to put stuff on people. Okay, could I please share my perspective on using BrainPrints for someone with brain damage? Could you be a little more specific, Robert, as far as what would be the purpose? BrainPrints are kind of subtle technology. That being said, the entrainment initiator might prove beneficial. They would have to try it and see if that really has an effect. More than twice a week would be necessary for someone with a brain issue. Obviously, I would suggest clearing it through a doctor or healthcare provider first. I don't believe there's anything that could be adverse, but at the same time, you want to be cautious. You always want to err on the side of caution, and I would clear it through. If the doctor doesn't know brainwave entrainment, if they're not aware of it, you're welcome to give them my email, my phone number, whatever, and they can certainly ask. I don't believe there would be any issue. One of the things that brainwave entrainment does, not the BrainPrints themselves, but the brainwave entrainment to a stronger level would be the initiator, is it can help, brainwave entrainment has been shown to increase cerebral blood flow. So again, I would probably clear it through a doctor just to make sure. Now, if a doctor freaks out and says, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, they probably have no idea what entrainment is, and they just have some preconceived notion that it's like witch doctoring, in which case I would get a second opinion. But that being said, always err on the side of caution. I am not a doctor, and even if I was a doctor, I haven't examined, your friend. So, I apologize. I wish I could be more direct, but I can't. I want to be responsible. I want this to be helpful. I want it to make a positive difference in people's lives. I do not want to do anything that might, adversely affect people or their circumstances. You're welcome. So, are there any other questions? Are there any other comments? Does anybody want me to go over the protocol again for choosing your recordings and creating your own custom system? Yes, no, maybe, go away, Maury. We've heard enough of you. What's that? I'm kidding. No one wrote that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link in there. Okay, here we go. There are two BrainPrints, Sleep 1 and Sleep 2. Okay, yes, you will notice with some of the recordings, there are what appears to be duplicates. There'll be like version 1, version 2, version 3, even in some cases. These are just ones where people asked me to create. You see, I give people what they ask for. So they asked me to create new ones with different affirmation statements, different guided meditation scripts, these kinds of things. So if you see Sleep 1 and Sleep 2, or even Sleep 3, these are all designed for sleep, but they all have different sets of affirmations in them. You'll notice on the BrainPrints site that the actual scripts are there. So you will see the scripts. You'll be able to know what's being said. When it comes to subliminal recordings, we want to be totally transparent for you. It's not enough necessarily to tell you that these things are all beneficial. It's important that you know they are. So that's why we give you the scripts as well. Any other questions? Oh, okay. I see I sent Robert the link. Whenever someone sends me a private message, or a message, it goes as a private message. So here's the link again for the True Subliminal BrainPrints offer. Again, I want to mention to you that this has been a real pleasure. If anybody wants to know more, they're welcome to contact me. As a matter of fact, I'm even willing to share with you the PowerPoint presentation. So if anyone wants the PowerPoint presentation, but you can't ask me here for it, okay? You have to send me the request at lamori.method@gmail.com. Let me make sure I type that right there. So you can just send me an email requesting the PowerPoint. And usually within 2 or 3 days, I will respond, especially after doing a presentation like this, things tend to get a little busy. But are there any other questions, comments, or concerns? Was there anything I spoke about that maybe you need some clarification on? Please understand that if you're inspired to ask something or to clarify something, you are getting that feeling for a reason. And one of the best ways to initiate a self-help, a self-improvement flow of energy is to honor yourself when you get these feelings. Taking action always brings some kind of a result. Taking a deep breath and not doing anything, well, the deep breath is good, but not doing anything usually results in nothing as well. Okay, we have a few more people coming in. Okay, I bought a few, looking forward to see them work. Thanks. Hey, a pleasure. Please remember to use the entrainment initiator at least twice a week properly. That's laying down, eyes closed, comfortable volume, ordinary over the ear. Don't use earbuds, stereo headphones. If you want to know why earbuds are really not effectual for this kind of tech, put it in the chat and I'll answer you. I'll probably tell you anyway, but just for the sake of argument, if you want to know, say it. Okay, let's see. I may have missed the comment on how we can make our own customized. Okay, I'll go over that again. Did you say you can play these with multiple recordings at the same time? You know what? That is an excellent question. If you have multiple ways of playing them, what I actually said is you can connect them in series, so you can put one after the other. But yeah, it would probably work if you played them multiple times as well. If you had like 2-3 systems and you could play them over 3 different speakers at the same time, I'd love for you to try it and let me know. You may have just created a new modality. Thank you, Robert. That's terrific. So yeah, give it a shot. But I actually was talking about putting them together in series, like, and then looping that series. Okay, so we're going to first talk about how to make your own customized, and then we're going to talk about why you shouldn't be using earbuds. So you'll notice on the BrainPrints page, truesubliminal.com/webinar special, that what happens is you see the BrainPrint and you see the title. Hold an intention in your mind. It can be one intention, but it should be one intention at a time. It can be 15 intentions. Doesn't matter. Whatever you want to accomplish, you go through the list, one intention at a time, and you make a list of all the recordings that are included in that intention. So the way you'll know is you'll either get a strong emotional reaction that's positive, uplifting, or that's negative. Like negative, I mean negative. Both of those are signs that they are related and involved in your intention. So whether it's positive or negative, the feeling you get, you write it down and you create your list. Then you hold your next intention and do the same thing. You go through the entire list, you pick the recordings that jump out at you, either in a good or a bad way. And you do that for all the intentions. You don't need to purchase a recording twice, but you put together your list of all your intention choices. And that now is a customized system to deal with every single intention that you wanted to deal with. You simply rotate through all the recordings on a constant level. Remember, they're subliminal. So the effect is going to be subtle, but you're going to want to do it properly. You're going to want to listen as much or have it playing in the background as much as possible. You're going to want to listen to the entrainment initiator at least twice a week. If you find you're getting more benefits, listen more often, no problem. but do that and you will get the ultimate system. The beautiful thing is that down the road, a month or 2 or 3 or 4, you may feel like you need to go over your list again. You can go back to the site. You can hold your intentions again and create your new list. Most people find that they choose 60 to 70% of the same recordings after a couple of months, but then the 30 to 40% are different. That is a sign that your needs are changing. So how many times have you come across a system where you can put it together yourself? So you are the expert customizing it for you. After all, who knows you better? Who's your only guru, really? It's you. But that also not just allows you to customize the system for yourself, but allows you to adapt that system down the road. Because as we change, our needs might change. That might be one of the reasons why a lot of self-help programs seem to help in the beginning, but then they don't help later on. And that might be because they don't take advantage of the most important aspect in any self-help program. That's the person who's using it. That's what BrainPrints does. It takes advantage of you, and it allows you to be the guide. It allows you to be the person who does everything and creates everything. So hopefully that helps, Nancy. Okay, yes, please tell us why we don't do earbuds. Okay, well, the reason why we don't do earbuds is very obvious to me. Okay, here's the thing. Earbuds, let me break out a pair of earbuds. Earbuds, you see how big they are? Massive, right? The little surface area that vibrates is about the size of the head of this pen. Can you even see that? It's about the size of the head of the pen, maybe even smaller. The reason why that doesn't work is because of what I told you about with sound. That sound doesn't exist. It's all vibration. The vibration in a little earbud is so puny that the power that the vibration has is minor. Your brain still converts that vibration into what we call sound, and it sounds the same as using big headphones, but it's not. The amplitude of the signal is very weak comparatively. The brainwave entrainment aspect of the recording will not be anywhere near as effective. That is why we do that. Okay, that is why we want to use over-the-ear headphones as opposed, here, hold on, let's do a side-by-side, shall we? That is why we use over-the-ear headphones as opposed to little itty-bitty pinhole-sized headphones. Because if we don't get the vibration, we don't get the vibratory power that's necessary to initiate the entrainment response. And the entrainment response, even when it's subliminalized, is incredibly powerful, and it makes all the difference to the BrainPrints recordings and their ability to be effective for you. So hopefully that helps. Oh, by the way, if you don't have over-the-ear headphones, you don't need to spend a lot of money. Usually between 10 and 20 bucks is all you need to spend. Because these recordings, you're not listening to jazz or classical music, you're listening to a pulsed beat. And that's what is the important part. So do we get a gracious gift for attending as always? Ha ha ha. Very funny. The gift is the knowledge. In this case, the gift is the knowledge. So let me actually take a quick look. I'm going to I see we have more questions, so that's terrific. Keep them coming. I'm going to paste the webinar special. I'm going to click the link. I don't know if Song put in anything. No, the offer is this special gift that we get in this particular case. And the information and the understanding. Remember, that makes all the difference in the world. Value comes from a million different places. Okay, sorry, I flashed through there. Okay, let's see here. Okay, thank you. Great seminar. Thank you very much. I'm happy you enjoyed it. Thanks for the earbud explanation. And as people I've talked to about your material have asked me that. Oh, well, that's very nice of you to share. Thank you. So the entrainment initiator as well with over-the-ear headphones. As a matter of fact, remember as well, You're not really supposed to listen to the BrainPrints themselves with headphones. They're supposed to be played over an external speaker. If you have to use headphones, again, the absolute lowest possible volume that you can listen is the best. The initiator requires, I mean, you don't have to, but for the best effect, like 10 times the effect at least, over the ear ordinary stereo headphones are perfect. If you are using headphones that do equalization, please neutralize that. If you're using headphones that do noise canceling, if it's not noise canceling just because of foam around your ear, if it's an electronic noise cancellation, please nullify that as well, because that will adversely affect the coding that I have put into the recordings themselves. So I will put the link in again. Is there anyone else who has any other question, comment, or concern? You're welcome to rate me as well. You know, if you think that I did a good job, if you think I sucked, I'm always happy for the feedback, because that's how I get better. So I don't see anyone typing continue, or I'm still writing. If you're still writing, please just click submit right now or hit enter, so I see that you're at least partially through a question. Okay, I don't see any of that, so I'm going to assume now that I have allayed everybody's concerns and thoughts, and I've answered everybody's questions. I want to take this opportunity now to thank everybody who's been here. Your energy is infectious. I actually am stronger and happier and more filled with energy now than I was when I started, and I have all of you to thank for that. So thank you very much. Remember, I'll put the link in one more time. Click the link, go check out my True Subliminal collection. BrainPrints are completely unique. There is nobody out there who has anything even remotely resembling this technology. You can be one of the first people in the entire world to gain benefits and advantages from using this very simple to use, very easy to get technology. If you need me, you can contact me at themaurimethod@gmail.com. You don't need to put the dots in. I put them in. Either way works. Again, if you need me for anything else, if any of you out there want to do that 1 hour coaching session and you buy at least 10 of the BrainPrints, I'm happy to be there for you. If anybody needs help with the program, that you get anyway. So don't worry about that, okay? You're not missing out on customer service help. And by the way, I provide the customer service help. It's not somebody else. So let me see, can you give us an example of the headphones? Well, you know, I don't really like to do that because you know, I'm not selling them and I don't want to promote anybody. But if you go to Amazon and just type in like Sony headphones and then, you know, go from cheapest to most expensive, you'll come across a pair probably for 10 or 15 or $20. You don't really need expensive headphones. As far as an external speaker is concerned, using your smartphone or your tablet really isn't very good. But again, with a external speaker, just contact the manufacturer. You don't need to spend a lot of money. Again, it can be a Bluetooth speaker or a wired speaker if you use. Very inexpensive. I've found them for $15, $20. You don't need to spend a lot to use this tech. It's very, very easy to use. It's effective when you use it properly and over time. So, anything else? I will do a peaceful countdown from 10. Those of you who have nothing to write may continue not writing. For those of you who are writing, it will buy you 10 seconds approximately to finish and ask me the last questions of the day. 10. Relax. 9. You feel a gentle warmth as you relax. 8. Relax deeper still. 7. your feeling of relaxation is like never before. You notice sensations that are pleasant, if not unusual. 6, you find yourself floating. Your mind is free. Your body is relaxed. 5. By the way, if I miss a number, it's because I'm relaxed. Relax deeper still. And if you're writing a message or a comment, you'll find it's easy to maintain your relaxed state while at the same time being consciously aware. 4, start to come back now while being grateful and appreciating how easy it is for you to relax. 3, come closer to regular consciousness while at the same time being fascinated by how relaxed you remain. 2, almost back now, feeling great, feeling relaxed, and yet energized too. 1, you're now fully back into your consciousness. You feel great. You feel wonderful. You're energized and ready to take on your day or night, wherever you may be in this beautiful, wonderful planet of ours. Thank you. Okay, that's it. I don't see any other comments except for a few thank yous, and there you go. It has been my absolute pleasure to be here for all of you, and it continues to be my pleasure. Feel free to reach out if you need anything. Until next time, please visit the BrainPrints site at truesubliminal.com/webinar special. I'm here for you, as always. Bye for now.